Welcome everyone to our latest edition of Trowel Time. I'm so glad you could join us. I'm Lowell Easton, and today I'm here with Brother Ben Tigner, and we've got a great episode this month introducing our Mason of the Year, Jon Premo.
Yes, we're chatting with not only Jon, but past Grand Master Fred Kaiser as well. Jon will share his Masonic path and those that helped mentor him along the way. And Fred joins us to discuss how we can help make the experience for our lodges and brothers better.
We'll also have news updates from around the state from Darren Thompson and some great pictures from our outdoor Fellowcraft degree in Fort Michillimackinac.
And if you'd like to see more stories like these, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your comments and any ideas or suggestions for the show.
And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, drop us a line in the comment section. We're always looking for brothers who want to join us here in the studio.
Thanks again, and now let's start the show with our 2026 Mason of the Year, Jon Premo.
So the way I came to Masonry was through the Order of D. Malay. So when I was a kid, my family and we used to move around quite a bit. And in third grade, I had a teacher by the name of Patricia Collier. Then one day, at a completely random gas station, my mom ends up bumping into Mom Collier on the other end of the gas station. And Pat says, "Carol, how old is Jon now?" And my mom says, "Oh, he's 13. And she said, "Have you guys ever heard of D. Malay?" And that's really where it got started. So a teacher that I hadn't seen in years randomly bumped into my mom one day and offered me this amazing opportunity that would really end up changing my life for the better. And I was already like one of those Dungeons and Dragons kids. I read The Lord of the Rings when I was in third grade, and I loved fantasy. And then I came to my first installation, and the pomp and the circumstance, and they did a ceremony called the Flower Talk during that event. And it's a ceremony that reminds the youth of how important their mothers are to them and your development as a person. And it blew my mind. And I was like, if those guys can do that, I can do that. As a kid who moved around a lot, that didn't have a chance to like really make friends, now I had an organization where no matter where I went in the state, there were people that I knew, that I loved, that I could depend on. So for me, the pomp and circumstance, the ceremonial part of things really just clicked with my brain. And as a kid who normally wouldn't speak at all, I'm not going to walk up to somebody and be like, "Hi, I'm Jon Premo," to suddenly then be in the middle of a room doing a part in front of hundreds of people, that was foreign, but it got us there pretty quick. It has really molded every part of my life, right? There's certain things that you learn, as a kid in D. Malay and then as a member of the lodge, organization, how to deal with people who look, act, and come from a different background that you do. How to be in a committee meeting or run Robert's Rules of Order, or how to remember that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and maybe you need to just sit back and listen. And those are things that D. Malay and Lodge have really affected me by making me more of a whole person. Remember that from the ranks you came, and to the ranks you will soon return. And when you look at life in general, and you realize that whether somebody's a CEO of a company or the guy that's mopping the floors, we're all just people, and everybody deserves the same respect, regardless of what your title or your job is. People are people. And if we can just make somebody's life a little bit better, then we're doing the right thing. I don't think people understand the sacrifice that's made by our wives and our families in order for us to be able to do this. So I'm senior warden of the lodge right now. I was junior warden last year. And every time I was making a meal, she was down right here helping me out. We're upstairs doing stuff. She's downstairs making sure we're good to hook. If I've got a meeting for D. Malay or for lodge or for any of the other appendant bodies, Diana's there at home rocking it out and taking care of stuff with the kids. And none of that would be doable without the love and dedication of my wife, who sees me through this entire thing. It's really easy to lose sight of the little things when you're scrolling on a cell phone all the time. And although we feel like we're so connected because, I'm talking to people online all the time, my Discord channel's right here, we feel like we're so connected, but really what these devices do is they isolate us, right? Masonry is one of those places where you can have real, authentic interactions with people. We've got lawyers and we've got retired people, and I'm a nurse, and people from different walks of life and different life experiences, and we have this one thing that we can share together. So now if I'm in another state or we're somewhere else, I never feel like I'm alone, because I know that I can pop into Google and find another Masonic lodge where I'm going to have a family. There's no other organization that I know of anyway that offers real connection the way that Freemasonry does.
Greetings and welcome to the Trowel Time News. The Michigan Masons have been a proud supporter of Say Detroit since 2016, most notably with the Say Play Center at Lipke Park. Say Detroit recently unveiled plans for a second center, which will involve major renovations of the St. Cecilia School and its world-famous gym. The new center will be named the Dworkin Say Detroit Play Center at St. Cecilia, honoring former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer's mother. Ballmer is a Detroit native and another major supporter of Say Detroit. There are plans to name the new recording studio in the center in honor of the Michigan Masons. If you're interested in volunteering at the Say Play Center or for any of the programs under the Say Detroit umbrella, please visit saydetroit.org. The first ever Fellowcraft at the Fort was a rousing success. 10 entered apprentices, equally divided between Yoopers and Trolls, were passed to the degree of Fellowcraft inside the walls of Colonial Michillimackinac on Saturday, August 1st. The forecast all week and even that morning was ominous, but as it turned out, not one drop of rain fell on the event. The degree team was in their colonial outfits, thank you to the Valley of Michigan for those, as were many others that attended. Thank you to everyone who pitched in to help haul items to Mackinac City, set up, and tear down. We caught up with several brothers after the event to get their thoughts.
It was awesome. Everybody did great. The candidates loved it, and we had a great turnout today.
We're very fortunate to have beautiful weather. They were calling for rain, but it held off. And it's been a historic event here at historic Fort Michillimackinac.
This was an extraordinary event to commemorate an extraordinary birthday for us.
Yeah, very unique. Never seen anything like it, and I hope to see it again.
Absolutely.
I was absolutely blown away by it. The incredible effort that went into this was just beyond measure.
It was absolutely outstanding. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things to happen, but boy, they pulled it off.
It's very much a historic event because we know from the archaeology there was masonry in this fort, but it hasn't been used since the War of 1812, and this may have been the first degree in this fort in 250 some years.
Now that's pretty awesome.
That's scary awesome.
For the brothers to be able to experience, for me to be able to experience this, it's a once in a lifetime occasion, and I was just so happy to be here. I think everybody did an amazing job, and I know those brothers that were passed to the degree of Fellowcraft today, I know they truly are just humbled by the experience as well, just as I was viewing it.
Hard to top that. I think look at the surroundings here. This is an excellent venue. I think we're hoping that we could replay this in years to come, if not the next couple. And like he said, we got masonry in this fort predates the territory of Michigan. So to think that we could have had masonry happening here 300 years ago, under British control.
Correct.
It's amazing venue here.
Everybody did a great job. It was well attended. I couldn't have asked for a better time and a better team.
Coming up around the state, Secretary-Treasurer Day will be held on Friday, September 11th at Masonic Pathways in Elma. If you are a current or incoming Secretary or Treasurer or may want to hold one of those offices down the road, please join us. Topics covered will include monthly duties of both positions, your 990 and you, the Lodge Grant Program, and much more. Sign up via the links in Grandview, Hiram's Herald, or on the QR code on your screen. Reminder that a joint Master Mason degree with Prince Hall outdoors at the Oakland County Sportsman's Club will be held on Saturday, September 26th. Sign up via the links in Grandview and Hiram's Herald. The Detroit Temple will be celebrating its centennial on Saturday, October 17th, with a gala event including dinner, an historic tribute, the world-famous Detroit Youth Choir, and much more. Tickets are on sale via this QR code. Our first ever Fall Festival will be on Saturday, October 24th on the campus of Masonic Pathways in Elma, which will be a 200th anniversary celebration with our residents, all lodges and their families, and the public. We will have a petting zoo, car and craft show, food vendors, hay rides, and much more. And we'll close out the year with a special bicentennial festa board with Prince Hall at the Detroit Masonic Temple in the Commandery Asylum on Sunday, December 27th. Tickets are on sale now via this QR code and all the places named above. That's all for the news. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned for more Trowel Time with Most Worshipful Brother Fred Kaiser and tips on lodge success.
Brothers, express yourself, literally. Please take a moment to leave a question for our Masonic mailbag in the comment section below. Welcome, everyone. I am joined today with Brother Fred Kaiser, past Grand Master and former leader of our Lodge Success team, who's responsible for just helping the craft, helping us make better lodges, helping us make better members, bettering the experience. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for the honor of being here. Appreciate it.
So I wanted to start off by asking you, you've met with a lot of lodges. I don't know that there are many lodges out there that you haven't been to, actually. What did you enjoy most about working with lodges?
Frankly, being able to get in the door and the opportunity to learn about their trials and tribulations, I think, and what they felt was important, and then trying to help them craft plans to try to address that, kind of determine what it is they want to be when they grow up, if you want to call it that, and then develop a plan to get there. And that was very impactful to me personally, and hopefully impactful to the lodges with whom we worked. We started out at, I think it was 270 lodges, and there were 3 of us assigned to work with them and so forth. And I can't say I made all 270 lodges, but I made a lot of them. And with my coworkers and I, we had a chance to meet with almost all of them. So thank you.
So having had that opportunity, what did you find was maybe one of the more successful ways you could work with lodges to help them engage their communities?
Sometimes it was just helping them understand that while Masonry is extremely important, and certainly it's a way of life, it's something that frankly affects the entire balance of our lives. We cannot do these things. We cannot be better men without engaging with our communities, helping them to the best of our ability, making ourselves known. For many, many decades, we basically hid ourselves under a bushel basket and said, well, people wanted to know about Masonry. I just had this happen a few weeks ago at Oakland University. Somebody had commented about the fact that my uncle was a Mason, but he would never tell me about it. He said he couldn't tell. Well, for many years we believed that we couldn't tell people anything. And I'm getting to the gist of your question, but the whole idea of involving with community means, number one, we not only practice brotherly love, relief, and truth, but we actually make ourselves known to the community, and they understand that A, we exist, B, that we're pretty good guys, and we have an opportunity to make an impact on the community. And that was, for many lodges, that was a revelation that they really ought to get outside themselves. I think, frankly, implementing the lodge charity counts, in some cases, forced lodges who never had the resources before to say, gosh, is there something in the community with which we should be helping? And gosh, here's a way we can do it, and we don't have to raise the money for it or whatever, or we don't have to turn it down because we actually have some resources. So those were helping lodges understand that, or them helping me understand what it is they were doing in the community was probably one of the most fulfilling parts of the job.
Was there one in particular that stood out? You had an opportunity for a long time to talk with a lot of people. Was there one particularly good day that made you feel like, okay, this is something that we need to continue to do?
Yeah, they'll probably kill me for it, but LC 238 just does a marvelous job of connecting with the community. And they went so far as to hire a local artist to paint a mural on the entire side of their wall declaring, all about Freemasonry and so forth. And they've always been incredibly connected with their community, and they continue to do that to this day, where they're involved with community projects. And it's not uncommon to hear Elsie's doing this and Elsie's doing that. So, I said, well, I've got to go see this mural myself. So I did. I drove to Elsie and found the lodge and saw the mural, had to do it for myself. So that was really, to me, that was a lodge really putting itself out there into the community, not only physically and financially, but also graphically.
Right.
Nobody in Elsie can say, well, besides the fact it's not an incredibly large community to begin with, but nobody in Elsie can say that they don't know where LC 238 is. Or if you hear the stories about, another one would be Byron 80. Byron is an incredibly small community, but Byron 80 is a Masonic lodge in beautiful downtown Byron, and it makes its lodge available to any community group that wants to use it. At least at one time, perhaps they've changed that, but at one time, free of charge. So if Kiwanis or Rotary or Lions or any other group, the local church groups wanted to hold something for the communities, they could hold it at Byron Lodge free of charge. And not only did Byron give them the hall for free, but if they were lacking manpower to do the event, Byron Lodge members were there elbow to elbow with the other members of the community, making them successful. And 100% of the proceeds for those events were given to whatever the group was that was fundraising. So, very long answer to a very short question, but those are a couple of things that just really stand out in my mind.
No, that's what we're about. That's why we do that. That's why I want to help promote those kinds of things. Maybe we inspire some other lodges to try something like that. That would be great. And along those lines, the next question I had for you was, what do you think are maybe some best practices or just some things that you've witnessed in your time that helps keep our brothers coming back? We've talked a lot about recruitment and those kinds of things. What can we do to introduce ourselves to the craft, like a great mural or something like that, or engaging other service organizations in the community? But once we bring them in, what do you think we can do to help show them, what we're really about, why this is so impactful?
Yeah. Well, for many years, most of my career was about marketing, and there were old trite phrases, some of which we use. One was said, if you want to be successful, find out what the customer wants and give it to them. Well, I think in terms of brethren, understanding what it is our brothers want, what they value, what they found important, what they would like to get more involved in, the kinds of skills they would like to develop. If you can determine that by having candid conversations with them, open forums, focus groups, however you gather those data, and then turn around and design a lodge plan, if you want to call it that, over the next 2 or 3 years to give it to them, those, I think, are probably the most impactful ways for us to engage members. Because, as we've learned through various presentations, including Danny Meyer's generational presentation and so forth. I mean, each succeeding generation has a little different value set, certainly different view on things, and that doesn't mean they're mutually exclusive.
Right.
You could use old farts like a Fred Kaiser and give him a little bit of what it is he seeks when he comes to lodge and so forth. And you can get, young Brandon, whomever, who is 19 years old and just came in and he's all a ball of fire for something else and so forth. There might be something we can do to deliver to him. So understanding what it is they want, giving it to them in terms of lodge programming, so they're getting some of the things they were seeking in the first place. But if I may just speak for a minute in terms of an Achilles heel, our Achilles heel is that A, we don't plan far enough in advance, and B, we don't tell anybody about it. I can think of a couple of examples, sadly, recently where I've experienced where we've decided today we're going to do something next month, and then wonder why, and don't tell people about it in many different ways, like social media and other communications channels and so forth, and then wonder why we have a poor turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean we abandoned it. We can always go back and diagnose and figure out what we can do better later or at another time and so forth. But the fact is you can ensure success if either You've planned it ahead of time, and you tell people about it. And that's one of the things that worshipful masters make the mistake of asking me what it is I can do. I say, plan out an entire year, a whole list of activities, and make sure your members know about it in plenty of time. Because we'll think that I can put it together today, implement it in sometimes 3 weeks or less, and expect a win. You're not going to get that. People are planning 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 months ahead of time for events, and you got to give them time to plan, because we don't ask people to give up their entire lives to be a Mason. But we're asking them to filter these events and so forth into their lives, so we have to give them enough time so they can put a stake in the ground and say, on June 18th, this is what I'm doing, or whatever, or June 19th, or whatever, and so forth. This is what I'm doing with my life, and let them plan all the other things around it. But if you wanted to be in a Masonic event, give them some time. So,
I'm always interested in brothers such as yourself that have had a lifetime in the craft. There's just so much experience and knowledge and things in there. Is there a moment for you in your Masonic journey that really stood out as like, this is why this is great?
I would say probably if the penultimate year for me, of course, was when I had the honor of serving as Grand Master, and understanding the impact that a Grand Lodge officer or a Grand Master could have on the life of an average Mason who was just dying to get to see the Grand Master, say that he went to the Grand Master's whatever. The Grand Master gave me a pin or those kinds of things. But to me, those were that particular year reinforced the fact that any leader needs to be practicing servant leadership, and that you're the best leader when you're also the biggest servant. And so Karen and I, my bride and I, would comment over and over and over again during those years, but particularly during the year as Grand Master, that just recognizing somebody, stating their name, calling them up, taking the time to listen to them, give them a pin, just in the smallest of ways, you can make such a big difference in that man's life. Those were the things that said, okay, now maybe perhaps I'm being a good servant because I just made somebody's day and he let me know it. Very long answer to a short question, but.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Fred. That was those are some great stories, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to bring them to the rest of the craft. And I hope you stop by again and share some stories with us.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll be right back right after this.
Are you looking for the latest Masonic apparel, materials, and literature from the craft? Look no more. At the MichiganMasonicStore.com, you'll find everything from hats and shirts to tumblers, blankets, and books. Our shirts come in a range of sizes with logos and branding custom stitched for Michigan Masons. Don't wait. Visit MichiganMasonicStore.com now.
And that concludes our latest episode of Trowel Time. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share your comments with us.
We'd love to hear from you about the possible show topics and what's going on in your lodge and how we can make your Masonic story part of the next episode.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you next month on Trowel Time.